Salute. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States.
Looking for a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion carries with 7 yeses and 0 nos.
Presentations and proclamations. We have a presentation for the YMCA update of operations at the new location.
Yes, this evening we have Stephanie Lay and Sarah Pierce here to provide a presentation to you all.
I have a supporting report with our presentation. Can I pass it along? Start at the end, is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, first off, I just want to say thank you so much for the opportunity to present today with the city here and for the opportunity to be at the convention center. We really appreciate our time there and going to dive into more of what we're accomplishing at the convention center. We also wanted to say thank you for your support of helping us expose some of those events, representing the convention center with the events that we're holding and helping with the marketing as well. So thank you very much. We're also very excited about the plans that the city has for the convention center. Dawn has been gracious to kind of keep us updated with the movements there, and we're very excited for that to hopefully come through in the next few months. Introduce myself. My name is Stephanie Lee, and I'm the executive director for the YMCA for the North District. So that includes Oroville as well as Rollingwood, which is in Fair Oaks, and a pool that we manage in Grass Valley. And then Sarah Pierce here, she's our branch manager for the Oroville YMCA. And I'm extremely thankful for Sarah for being so involved in the community here as I reside in Fair Oaks. So she has been extremely helpful for me to get introduced to the community and to know more about all the daily going-ons that the city has, as well as the YMCA can participate in. I've been with Oroville for about 6 months now. And then we also have on our managing team is Karen Newton. She manages member services for Oroville as well. So I have an agenda that I've provided for everybody of what we're going to go through today. Starting off with convention center updates, as I was requested of us to present on. So I'll give you a few updates first on our membership growth opportunities that we've had with the convention center. Our youth members have grown over 75%. Which has been incredible and a great new opportunity. We had very few youth members prior to being at the convention center. So the age range of 12 to 18 are now very much proactive, using the open basketball court and spending time there as well as the fitness center. And so we're thankful for that. All the other categories of membership are pretty much in line with what they have been, with seniors being our largest population. And our focus for New Year especially is our families, that 0 to 62 age range. And we've been trying to add new benefits for this age group that I'll elaborate on as we continue. So we have several programs that were made possible to us by being at the convention center. The YMCA in Oroville hadn't had before any youth sports. The YMCA of Superior, California does volleyball, dodgeball, flag football, basketball, and we were finally able to introduce some youth sports to Oroville. We have a youth basketball program as well as a youth dodgeball program. In basketball, we saw 100 kids in the past 2 winters, 66 kids over the summer. So that was just a delight. And dodgeball offered a youth about 20 kids per season, and I don't know if you can see on the screen, but the bottom picture is all the adults that jumped into play and are getting as much fun out of it as the kids are. It's been quite a riot over at the center during the weeknights for that. Pickleball is also something that we were able to start diving into that network with the convention center. We're now offering indoor pickleball, and we right now have about 50 to 60 participants. They come to us in the winter season when it's raining, and also in the very hot summer days. So we look forward to seeing them. We have painted lines on the basketball court we have to provide 3 pickleball courts with portable nets. That way we can share the platform and intertwine programming. Also in 2022, the YMCA has hired a pickleball director, and that director is now putting on teaching clinics, socials, tournaments, and other pickleball programming that we're introducing to Oroville. We're really doing a push right now to expose that to the pickleball community and planning some events for December and January and February during the colder, wetter months. A question that has come up about pickleball at the convention center is the lines on the court. We use tape, and because we didn't want to damage the basketball flooring at all. The tape wears very quickly. So as we're continuing to improve programming there in pickleball and help that grow, there's a question of, is there a better solution? So I'd love to talk to someone at the city about, maybe another solution that we can do to provide, whether it be painted lines or a tape that is maybe a little bit more durable, but something so we can have that be a little bit easier and visibility for during play.
Okay. Given the space available at the convention center, we have now been able to double our Group X class schedule. We can provide senior classes on the gym floor to avoid the stairs. We can also offer a more private space upstairs in the Group X room for yoga and mid-intensity classes. Multiple classes can run at the same time, which means we can have a class downstairs and upstairs, which with the previous building was not possible. Prior to the convention center, we had no reliable rehearsal space or guaranteed performance stage. Now our program is flourishing. 40 to 60 theater youth were in High School Musical in the junior in the spring of 2022. We will be bringing adult theater and clinics to the convention center spring of 2023 as soon as the convention center construction is completed. This will offer acting and singing classes as well as a production for the city. We're going to return to having camp theater for youth during summer at the Y because we do have the stage full-time available to us. And we will be bringing back in fall 2023 the children's musical and looking at possibly Aladdin Jr. Rentals. Per our agreement with the City of Oroville, the Y is managing all aspects of the convention center rentals. The rentals include weddings, quinceañeras, celebrations of life, high school basketball tournaments, square dancing, birthday parties, pro championship wrestling, Ducks Unlimited events, Rotary Roundup, Kiwanis science fairs, and much more. In 2021, we had 16 rentals. In 2022, we had 27 rentals. Quick thing about the rentals, we are generally booked out 4 to 6 months in advance. So I am already getting requests for May of 2023. Community programs. We've made it our effort to maximize the spaces available at the convention center, expand our programming and events beyond what the Y has been able to offer in the past. We now have singing classes on Saturdays. Youth and adults can come out and sing, and it's free to members. We're going to be working with Butte County Office of Education for a food program. This is our second season serving the city of Oroville with free meals provided by the Butte County. Salmon Festival, not only did the Y operate a pancake breakfast, we were also available to event patrons and runners as a cooling station in public restrooms. During such time, there were presentations by the Pro Championship Wrestling during the Salmon Smackdown, Las Plumas Oroville High School Band, and the Cultural Center Dance Team also presented on the stage. And on December 2nd, the same day as the Christmas tree lighting, we're excited to be doing our first holiday bazaar. So we are inviting some of the community and our members to come out and go ahead and make some money for the holidays. And it is a free event for the community. Trunk or treat. We are glad to be part of what the city is doing for the Halloween weekend, because I realize you guys are doing the museum trick or treat. We are doing a trunk or treat up in the community center, or convention center parking lot. We have several people that are coming out, including East Center Head Start, Valley Oaks, the Oroville Police Department, and Jordan's Crossing, amongst their members and such that are opening up their trunks and their hearts to be able to provide a fun night for the kids to be able to come out. We're also working with the Exchange Club, who is doing a pumpkin decorating. We did have a mystery dinner, our first mystery dinner, as part of Perry Mason Days. Part of being at the convention center is it's wonderful that we can tie in a little bit closer to everything in the city. Lessons learned, the staffing requirements when it comes to the rentals, what staff is necessary for each event to help ensure it runs well, necessary permits, what event permits are available or needed for the big events, alcohol permits, when is security necessary, et cetera. Best practices for cleaning after an event so that we can maintain it as beautiful as it is. And what time and staff for each event. Best practices for event as far as payments, deposits, and follow-ups to make sure that everybody has what they need the day of the event.
We are, like I said, we're focusing on the families of Oroville. We're also investing ourselves in the convention center and the more opportunities that we can have. We can continue to grow upon everything that provides us. We have expanded our hours just in October. So now we can serve the early morning crowd before work, Monday through Friday. We're also open on Saturdays, and we provide child watch on Saturdays. So you can bring your kid to have supervised playtime while you take a Group X class or work out or play basketball. We're also introducing some new fitness equipment and some new fitness classes. We're getting 5 new strength equipment pieces later this month. And we're introducing some high-intensity workout classes. We have a lot of low and mid-intensity classes, but we're trying to provide something that can help with strength and endurance. We're also going to be welcoming to Oroville stretch therapy. I feel like this program is going to go really well here in Oroville. We recognize that most of the industry is agriculture, and that takes a lot of wear and tear on your body, and a lot of recovery is needed. Stretch therapy is a professional stretch that helps focus to release tension and also improve your rotation and mobility. So we hope that Oroville is excited about those sessions. They're 30 minutes and well worth the time. It's kind of an in-between between massage and chiropractor. We're also introducing some adult sports. We're working with our sports director to do some adult dodgeball and adult basketball, because as you can see from our youth programs, the parents want to jump in. So we're excited about that opportunity as well. We're also working with Cornhole at the River to hopefully have them come join us at the levee for cornhole tournaments in the convention center during the rainy season. Let's see. I also wanted to talk a few more things that weren't in the slides that are in the report here, just about the marketing and exposure. We, as Sarah mentioned, we are very appreciative of being part of the downtown scene, of having that front and center exposure at the convention center, and also feeling more part of the local businesses and events that you guys conduct there downtown. So that is something that we're thankful. Also, the screens in the front of the convention center is helping us get our messaging out. So these have all been great benefits to the YMCA. I know that we have one little snafu with marketing is the convention center Google page needs some updating, and we don't have any access to that. So we're hoping to work with whomever is appropriate at the city to make those necessary updates. An overview before I move on to other YMCA updates for the convention center is that we're very grateful for this opportunity. It has provided us a space to have more members, to have new members, more programming, more staff, more job opportunities, and it's also provided us a lot of new financial opportunities through programs and rentals as well. I also wanted to have the opportunity today to talk a little bit about the Aquatic Center, the YMCA Aquatic Center, and some updates there. I'm sure many of you have heard that we decided to close for the winter season. This is a normal practice for cities and parks and recs and those kind of organizations, but the YMCA hasn't done this before in Oroville. And I wanted to kind of give face to why we made that decision. It was very hard for us. It's been very hard for our members and our staff, and I want to provide some updates around that. So just a quick timeline. The pool was built in 1996 and it has not had much repair since then. Nora, I believe, presented to the board here to get part of the funding from the SBF grant, which we were awarded. And that was to support redoing our locker rooms because the floors had been rotted out, and resurfacing the pool because they had experienced damage from the fires. And we were awarded $70,000 to do so, and we worked with the recommended contractor. It took almost 2 years to get that accomplished, and we were almost $30,000 over budget. We also met with the city back in May of 2022, just to kind of give an update on the Aquatic Center and the financial situation that we were having there, because there has been a significant loss for us year over year. And with the many repairs, which I'll get to as well, kind of led us to this decision. And in October, we chose to close for the winter time. Here's a review of the expenses. So our annual revenue and expense, and you can see the loss that we're seeing each year. This is just the Aquatic Center by itself. Then to the right, you can see listed all the repairs that are necessary. And one of them is to check for leaks. If there is a leak from the pool, that could be several $100,000s to get that fixed. So this is the situation that we are faced with, and what led us to deciding to take a few months off to recoup some of those expenses and reinvest into the repairs and consider what's holds for the future of the Aquatic Center. The YMCA Aquatic Center provides essential programs and resources for the city of Oroville that provide safety, sport, leisure, and exercise for the community. Swim lessons, aqua aerobics, lifeguarding classes, CPR classes, and so on. Our members provided us with a lot of very supportive feedback, and of course we've been knowing them for many, many years. We know what's important to them, and the benefits here are things that they prioritize. Low impact exercise, joint health, arthritis support, cardiovascular workouts, safety in the water, and with bodies of water that surround our town. We appreciate very much the support and feedback that we got from our members. It was positive and plenty of negative too, but we were so thankful that they wanted to come together as a team to try to find a solution. I know it was very disappointing to them. They had great ideas, and I know that they've submitted some letters to the city as well as myself, the CEO of YMCA, and the aquatics director. They was overwhelming with their desire to talk to us and reason with us and try to work on a solution. And they were, again, fantastic ideas, but it was hard to explain the situation that we were in. And most of them, I think, when you sat down and said, you know, what we were trying to accomplish by being closed, that they understood. But I know for many of them, not being able to do that as a regular routine or have that form of exercise is detrimental. So some of the things that we offered to our members was new low-impact classes with the instructors that they're used to. So we brought the instructors back to the convention center and provided low-impact classes and chairs and with pool noodles and equipment that they're used to experiencing. So, and many have enjoyed it and been coming. We've had tremendous success with that. Also, one of the aquatics instructors is teaching those singing classes. So again, a familiar place for them. And we have gotten the feedback that they were excited to try new things and had never really ventured out of the aquatic center. So there's definitely some positives. We also offered our staff new opportunities. Everyone was offered a position of some kind, whether it be a referee on one of our sports programs, front desk, maintenance, class instructors as well. So we try to maintain as much of our staff throughout the wintertime as possible. Some chose to leave, but most of them are planning to return in the spring. So again, that was rather successful given the situation. Also in the report, I don't have a slide for it here, but I just noted a few other financial markers. It's on page 9 of the report of where the YMCA is at with the aquatics department as well as our Y Assist program. So the YMCA offers a financial assistance program. We fundraise every year for this. So that way we can offer financial assistance to the community for either membership or programming. So they don't have to be a member, they can get it for programming as well. Currently, we spend $30,000 a year at Oroville to provide this assistance. Also noted in here is we're collecting about $7,500 a month in our membership. So we highly depend on the programs fees, rentals, and some of the great opportunities that we've had with the convention center. I also wanted to share with you folks that on Friday, November 4th, I will be meeting with the facilities director, the aquatics director, child care director, and the CEO of YMCA to discuss the Oroville YMCA budget. I guess that's important for you guys to know. In conclusion, I want to again say that we are thankful for the continued partnership with the city. The city has shown us much support, and we consider that as an association as we evaluate everything that we have here, that you guys have been tremendous in supporting us, and we hope that we can continue to grow opportunities and partnerships with the city, and that you find that the YMCA is a valuable asset to the community. A question that I keep asking everyone as I go to Rotary events and other group functions is there something missing from the community that the Y can help support? Is there a support group that needs to be formed? Is there an activity missing from school programs? Are there needs being neglected? Are there sports or other activities that we can add? We have a wonderful space downtown, and we can definitely add more programming, but it'd be nice to know from you guys if there's a need in a specific area, whether it be arts or music or athletics.
It looks like we have a question or comment from Councilmember Goodson.
Yes, thank you so much for the presentation. So I had a couple of questions, and one you just answered in regards to the financial assistance. That's really appreciated. I thank you for that. We have approximately 34 to 38% of the people that live below poverty level here. Many people, both our kiddos and our adults, would like to take advantage of these classes that you offer, but due to transportation and lack of money, and so I appreciate the waivers and some type of scholarship. Because when a person goes out of pocket, they have to be able to sustain and maintain what that amount is. Number two, you had mentioned the pickleball community. And so I don't know what that looks like. But I'm sure that there is a community. I see it on Facebook.
Yes.
But it hasn't reached other parts of our community. So my question is in regards to your outreach. What does that look like to the outlying areas that are disadvantaged, that are really targeted areas? And I was wondering if you have reached out in regards to partnerships, perhaps with, we have the African American Family and Cultural Center. And I believe with that link, you can bring in more just a broader population, and it certainly bears looking into. But I appreciate what you have done thus far. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those ideas and feedback. And you asked what that looks like, our outreach looks like for pickleball.
Yes.
They play locally at parks, and we are in touch with two fabulous individuals that are kind of the spokesman for the groups that go and play. And so our partnership with them has been to do word of mouth. You know, they are in the community and playing at the park, so they are spreading the word and with the local players. Obviously, we also take traditional avenues of social media, email campaigns. We're thankful to have a rather large base of emails here for Oroville that we can share updates. We have, a newsletter that go to members, but we're we're appreciative that we have a few extra thousand that aren't members, but maybe were at some time, that we can help spread the word. Word of mouth, of course, is always number one. But our pickleball director, she was just here today. This is her second visit to Oroville. Is really diving into that. Looking forward to the winter season.
Thank you.
Councilmember Pittman?
Yeah, thank you. I was thinking back almost 8-10 years, we're talking to Celeste Silva about getting them a bigger facility, and now we see it today. It's really nice. The trick or treat you're talking about, up at LaPorte, we do a tailgate trick or treat. Is that what when you say trunk?
Sorry, it's a trunk or treat. Yeah,
Okay,
same thing.
same
So,
thing,
but we're
okay.
going to change it up a little bit. Some people may not want to open up their cars to people.
Right.
For example, I believe the Head Start is going to be putting out tables and doing crafts, and so they'll have a little booth space, and they'll be able to do crafts, and the people are play a game for candy type of a thing. So it'll be a lot of games and a lot of fun up in the parking lot. So it will be outdoors.
It's a great idea, because like in LaPorte, you have cabins all over the hillside, and you can't go to the cabins all over. So having them in downtown is a great idea. I compliment you on that. The other thing I was going to ask about is your pickleball population. Now, the funny thing about it is I always perceive them as senior adults. But I got a call from my granddaughter in Chico, and there's hundreds of kids in pickleball now. Do we have that range, or are we just in one population of age?
Our current population is senior in Oroville, but I can tell you that down in Fair Oaks, we have 6 pickleball courts, and they are filled with families. It's a great family sport because it's easy to learn, it's fun to play, you can be outdoors. So all age demographics and community are coming together to play this. It's growing extremely rapidly.
Yeah, I was dramatically surprised by it. In fact, I got beat 3 or 4 times by my granddaughter.
So this is a good opportunity for us in Oroville to hopefully let it grow.
I think Janet's idea is a wonderful idea, to bring the families down, not just think it's one age or another, because it is. You can play with all ages together. So compliments to you and to your staff. You're doing a wonderful job.
Thank you.
I just want to add to that real quick. We do have our open basketball times, and we're really looking forward on Saturday mornings to be opening it up for reservations for pickleball as well. And so if somebody who plays pickleball wants to introduce it to their kids on a Saturday morning, they're welcome to reserve a court and come on down and play a game with their kids.
Cool. Very cool. Thank you.
Councilmember Smith?
Really appreciate the presentation. I know when I asked Dawn to invite you to give this, I thought, oh boy, Sarah's not gonna, she's gonna be upset with me. But I think it's a great opportunity really to share with the community what you guys do, all the great work you do up there. So certainly this is very informative, and also just the demographic that you're servicing, which is the seniors, which is pretty surprising. Do you know if the pickleball people, when they see the new park built, the restoration of Hewitt, that because they're going to be, of course, building out those pickleball courts up there, are they planning on then jumping over there from your facility, or has that conversation happened?
Absolutely, yes. They are very excited about that opportunity, and so are we. I mean, it's a shared experience. The fact that we can be indoors is the exciting part, right? So when it's extremely warm or it's raining, there's a solution within Oroville. But when it's nice outside, go outside, please. So we have flexible options. There's day passes or there's monthly memberships. And your membership's month to month, so they can join for December, January, February, and then quit and come back.
Great. So, and then also I'm inclined to agree with Councilwoman Goodson about, our schools, Thermalito, OCSD, they're all Title I schools, meaning over 40% of that population is below the poverty line. And so just thinking about, marketing and outreach and all of that, certainly it's great that the populations come up, but, we certainly like to see, just creative ways, whether it's with the African American Family Cultural Center or others, to, engage that population, and then to draw them in the downtown core, creating, more life. Now I have something controversial. So, swimming pool. Mm-hmm. So, one day we're going to have our dam relicensed, and we're going to go from ORAC committee to a RAC committee. Without getting into all the weeds of that, there's a project up there on that hill that's supposed to happen at Loafer Creek. They want to build a lagoon, a multi-million-dollar facility. I've been advocating since I've become aware of that to pull that project if DWR is listening, pull that project down here. I'd love to see a pool, warm water facility built right there into the levee with, you can see through out onto the river through your swimming pool with a tunnel out, underneath the levee, all kinds of cool stuff. Love to see some of that money come off the hill, DWR, and into Oroville proper and to develop, I think, things that now when we think about recreation and people's needs, all of those have changed. We think about just fuel prices, transportation, and to pull things closer into the central core of a city seems to make a ton of sense, doesn't it? DWR makes great sense. So just as far as partnering advocacy, I think that's a great conversation that we need to start having about, what those projects look like in and around the SRA area, state recreational area, and then how we can maybe woo our partners, local partners here, into helping you guys develop some of those awesome projects. Anyway, just saying. Not that it's controversial, but thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Those are some fantastic ideas.
All right, I'll be real quick. I remember when it was opened before, and it was Feather River Rec. Their adult basketball was very popular, and City League volleyball, very popular. So just a couple of ideas from one of the old guys.
Much appreciated. And like I had mentioned, we are looking into doing adult programming once again. And very much like to get it refereed. And so we're working with Chico to get a certain caliber of referees to make sure that those events are fun and safe and people keep coming back.
Great. Well, thank you very much. If there are no other questions or comments, excellent presentation. Councilmember Goodson?
This is just an aside. You mentioned Fair Oaks. Is that parallel to Sierra Oaks? Are you talking about that Fair Oaks?
No, the
California?
city of Fair Oaks,
The city.
between Orangevale and Folsom,
Okay.
yeah, outside of Sacramento.
Thank you.
Mayor, we do have one public speaker on presentations.
Okay.
Dorinda Schofield.
Directed towards them anyways. My thing is you guys have a great platform for your signs and stuff that come out. It would be awesome if you could open those up. I understand, I've been told anyways, I don't know if it's true or not, that you only do your own activities right now. But there's a lot of things that come up in different parts of the community and stuff that it would be nice, because it's such a great platform. And to me, this is the thing that I think every town suffers with, is how do we get the word out, whatever's happening and stuff. So if that could be opened up at least a little bit to some outside happenings, I think that would be wonderful.
Thank you. That is a great idea. And we do our messaging through those screens. We also offer it to businesses or organizations that use the facility for rental. If they're running a fundraiser or running a pro wrestling SmackDown, and they're welcome to advertise it as well. So I appreciate that consideration, and Sarah and I can discuss it more.
It is also currently Sorry. It's also currently being used by Downtown Business Association, so anything downtown as well as any city events are being posted on there as well.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Okay, moving on to public communications. This is the time for the public to communicate with the council on non-agenda items.
Our first speaker is Don Blake.
Evening, folks. I provided each of you a copy of a brief I've prepared called Mission Esperanza, The Needle Exchange Road to Hell. I hope you take a chance to read it. Thank you.
Our next speaker is the cameraman.
Good evening. Hear me? Okay. I'm stuck now. I usually can adjust it. Now we're stuck in place. Good evening, Oroville City Council. I'm here tonight to discuss some issues that I still need resolved. Mr. Huber isn't here tonight, but I did send him an email, so hopefully when he gets back into where he can read that in a more convenient time since he's apparently out of the office. He'll have a more detailed response, but basically, he was supposed to provide some footage to some public records requests I made no later than August 31st, and here it is almost 2 months later. And from my understanding is that the reason why it hasn't been provided yet is a few council meetings back, he told me that there's a delay with the editing company. So I guess that's the issue. My question is, what editing company is this that's taking so long, at the very least, so I can at least call in and maybe inquire myself as to why it's taking long, or at the very least, leave them a review, because, I mean, I've dealt with records from CHP, and they got to go all to this one office for video to be edited, and they can get me that back within 90 days, and that's one office for the whole entire state of California. We got millions of people. Not that they get millions of requests every year, but one office, and they can get me 90 days, and here this company can't even get it to me within a couple months. It's like, what gives? Another issue is it's been 1 year now since my unlawful arrest by no longer Sergeant Sanzone of the Oroville PD. I made a complaint about that last October. I've yet to receive any response to that complaint, as well as a previous complaint I made about him earlier in that year, as well as to any complaints I've filed with the Oroville Police Department. And speaking of former Sergeant Sanzone, for those who aren't aware, he went over to Glenn County, and he was over there for a couple months, and from what I've been told, he's allegedly been caught doing misconduct again and has been placed on leave. And also, I've been shown a document with the Glenn County District Attorney's letterhead on it, so I do believe it's genuine, saying that he has been put on the official Brady list. And for those older folks in the audience, no, that's not about gun control. It's actually a list we have here in the state of California of all the police officers that have been caught lying, basically doing anything. They can't be trusted, so they won't be called to court. So it's basically like a background check to make sure he's a good witness to go to court. So he's been placed on that list now, at least from what I can tell, because that stuff can't really get access to as a member of the public. So thank you for your time.
Our next speaker is Bill Spear.
Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody who participated in the candidate forum with the Exchange Club. It was a very good program, and it was nice to have everyone show up. Also, there's already was mentioned about the pumpkin decorating thing that's going to go on with the Y. Really appreciate all the YMCA and all that they do for our town. We also have the Veterans Day Parade coming up, and we'd like to get as much people participating in that as possible. And I'd also like to thank the mayor and the vice mayor and a lot of the pastors and some of the candidates, Tracy Johnstone and Sean Weber, who went up to the O and painted it and made it look a lot better. And no good deed goes unpunished. A lot of people want to attack people for doing a good deed, but thank you for doing it, and all the people that participated. It really makes a difference. So today I'm going to pray for you all, pray for the YMCA and the rescue mission, that it won't be a road to hell. It'll be a highway to heaven, and that the community will continue to come together, all the service groups. So Father God, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for all that you're doing. We thank you for the YMCA, and what a wonderful presentation. And we pray that as a community, we would continue to come together, and as Councilman Smith prophesied about things he would like to see, I pray that it would come to pass, and it would be even better than we imagine, that we would work, that the water, Cal Water would work with the city and with all the
the people and do awesome things for our city. Thank you for our rescue mission, and we pray Mission Esperanza would go forth and it would help the least of these. For the Veterans Day Parade, Lord, we pray that it would be the best one yet, that it would really make an impact on the veterans and for all of the service groups. It's been rough going through COVID, but Lord, that you would be with them all, that you would raise up Oroville, raise up all the people that are serving on the front lines, all the people who are laying their lives down. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Our last speaker is Dr. John Rivers.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to say a few words about the South Oroville African American Historical Society. The last time I was present at a council meeting, the council had presented us a certificate of appreciation for Black History Month. And I remember that very evening. I'm here tonight to tell you that after 2 years of inactivity with our historical work and our fundraising, we have come back. That is not only after a epidemic, but also because I'm recovering now from cancer. And so I had 1.5 years of treatment, and I'm still cancer-free, and we have resumed. Thank you. Thank you. And so we have resumed our work. Our work is one of spiritual significance because what we have taken on as an organization is not only to document the migration and the history of developing Southside into a functional Black community. By functional, I mean we had our social development activities and programs for our youth, primarily the work of the churches, and we had our own sense of charity where families looked out for other families, and we had our own unofficial sanctioning group, which would be the elders. They would make sure that things in the community flow so that there weren't major problems. We had good relationships with the county and the city in terms of problem solving if those problems were identified and found to be significant. Each year, we have been recognizing elders for what they have done on behalf of others. The character of the community I grew up in was that you help each other.
I'm sorry, Dr. Rivers, your time is up. Time to speak.
Time.
You get 3 minutes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I want to invite you to our 13th Legacy Award presentation. Mr. Gable made many presentations before the council, and I think it'll be a nice evening to meet some of his family here. And I'd say in closing, Mr. Gable and Catherine are excellent parents and representatives.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Thompson has something to say.
I'm
Dr.
sorry,
Rivers?
could you come back for a second? Could you unmute his mic? Could you repeat that again for those that are watching online? I think it's important for the community to know that about that event.
Oh,
Just
yes.
where it is and when it's at.
Okay. The event is November the 5th. It's Saturday, and it's at Feather Falls Casino. It starts at 6 p.m. We have a program in which the Gabriel family and all of the grandchildren and all will be there. We have some presentation for the second generation of African Americans who came with their parents to Oroville to work primarily in lumber and in construction and in fruit harvest, build the community that we call Southside.
That's great. What's the cost for that?
It's a donation
Okay.
of $50. Nice dinner, good people, good evening, and a glimpse of history that is not present now in the shape and the form it was then. But that's like anything, things change. So
Thank you, sir.
that's what it is. Thank you.
I appreciate your time.
For your question.
Mr. Mayor, that is the last of the public speakers on non-agenda items.
Looking for a motion to adopt the consent calendar.
I move that we adopt the consent calendar.
I second.
Motion carries with 7 yeses and 0 nos.
Moving on to regular business, I believe item number 7 has been tabled till mid-November. Mr. Lando, is that true?
That is correct.
Okay, moving on to item number 8, financial analysis for fiscal year ended June 30th, 2022.
Good evening, Mayor Reynolds and council members. I wanted to bring you the fiscal results of our year ended June 30, 22. It is unaudited at this point. I did have a meeting with our auditor, and
Excuse me, what are you saying? Her mic is not on?
It's on.
It looks on. It's on.
it's on. I can get closer. Anyway, our auditor, our financials are due December 31st, and it looks like our auditor is already asking for an extension. So we plan to have the audited financial statements to you by the end of January. But I like to bring you something sooner so you have an idea how the year went. And it looks like, as it stands now, we have a $3.7 million surplus. So again, we had a $4 million surplus last year, and now it's 3.7. So just want to get into a little bit of why. It looks like that we had excess of revenues of 1.4 million, but we underspent 4.5 million. So it's really in the expenditure part that we're creating these surpluses. So as we got the new district tax, and as we got the positions added to it and things like that, it has been slow going to catch up to the full budget of what we have available. Also, we didn't know what that was going to bring in, but it has brought in over $7 million last year. And it's staying strong. And our sales tax consultants tell us that we're kind of in a bubble because other people are seeing some decline. And even during the pandemic, the city has stayed pretty steady as far as our sales tax revenues. So that was really good news for us. Hopefully it stays that way. I did see the last sales tax remittance came in a little less than I thought it would be. So it could be that we're starting to see some decline, and we always need to be ready for that. And for whatever happens to the economy, we need to be ready for. As far as outstanding debt, the big thing for this year is we paid off a pension bond. The pension bond was approximately $2.1 million. We rolled it into our new pension bond. So we had a $25 million unfunded liability with CalPERS, and we issued bonds last fall in the amount of $18.8 million. And so we rolled the former pension bonds into that so that we only have one debt now. We owe $2.1 million on our solar and energy project, and we owe 12 million on our successor agency bonds. And I think those are set to mature about 2031. So at that time that that's paid off, the city will be seeing a pretty large increase in revenue at that time, because I think about $1.9 million is diverted to the successor agency to pay that bond right now. So when that's paid off, we'll see a huge increase in revenue. I'm always asked about the general fund reserve. So at year end, it was $7.5 million. Our policy is to target about 15% of our expenditures, and this brings us up to 22%. So I know there's a goal to get that even higher, and so we're working towards that. But we're well above the suggested recommendation of 17. That's from the Government Finance Association. So 22 is pretty good. We look pretty good. And that really helped us when we did our credit rating for when we issued the bonds last fall. So I have attached a couple worksheets, and I wanted to point out on the actual, I wanted to point out under interest and rents and concessions. Sorry, I planned to have my tablet and displaying so I could go with the mouse, but it didn't work out tonight. So Jackie's my mouse. The first one, the budget to actual. Yep, that one. So I wanted to show you under interest, rents, and concessions, about the middle of the revenue page, we had a negative earnings of $338,000. That is our PARS account. And we lost over $400,000 last year due to the market turmoil that we're experiencing right now. And for the first 3 months of this year, we're seeing quite a bit of losses still. So that has not bounced back. We don't have any other investment that is tied to the market. We have all of our money in LAIF, and the worst we could do is zero interest, but we can't go negative in that. So I know the council had approved us to get an investment account, I think about $10 million. Well, the city treasurer and I have been monitoring that very close, and we just don't feel, we're kind of proud of ourselves that we did not open that account. And I have been reporting to council that we were delaying opening that because the market is just terrible. So had we done that, I can't even imagine the amount of losses we would be looking at right now. It would have been a lot more. So it's hard to take a loss, but it could have been a lot worse. So we're still holding off. We're not going to open any investment accounts till the market looks better. And we actually have a couple other options that we might bring to you. Another LAIF type account that might do better, but the worst we can do is 0% interest. So it's very safe money. The other thing I wanted to point out, if you look at, I thought it was really interesting that our prior year and our current year on the next page, we're only $200,000 different from last year. And that's kind of remarkable when you're up in the $28 million of revenue. So very, very close to last year. We didn't do any increases. We did have that coronavirus in the prior year of $2.4 million. That was the first installment. This year in July, we received the other installment. So there's no coronavirus in these financials like we did the last year. There's no huge unanticipated revenue like that. So I'm attempting to leave that in July. And unless our auditor makes me move it to last year, this could cause us to have a $6.2 million surplus. So I'm going to leave it in July and see if he forces me to move it to last year. Anyway, just so you know, I am reporting to you that we did get the $2.4 million second installment, second and final. So other than that,
Councilmember Pittman has a question.
Open for questions.
Thank you. Great report, Ruth. When you mentioned the PERS bond paid off, was that the 20-year one that brought the city to the 2% at 50 formula?
Yes.
Okay, so that one's all done. We don't
That
have
one's
to,
all done. We
okay.
paid it off. We only have one pension bond right now.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Anyone else? Councilmember?
Yes, thank you.
Councilmember
The
Goodson.
successor bond, what is the balance on that?
21 million,
And it sunsets
No, wait.
2030?
12 million. Oh, gosh.
12 million.
It's 12 million, sorry. 21's the total, sorry. It's 12 million.
Sunset 2030?
2031, I believe.
Thank you.
If there are no other questions, no other comments, thank you.
I did have in my recommendation, if the council was open to an idea of using the surplus to pay off the solar and energy project loan of 2.1 million. It would get us out of debt further. I know that is a goal of this council, to get rid of as much debt as we can. So if you are open to that, I will ask for a payoff and have that paid off by Thursday.
I think that's a great idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
I'm all for paying off
Yep.
debt.
Art?
How much will that save us in interest?
Oh, I can report
Absolutely.
that back to you. I don't have that amount. Yeah, yeah.
Can you ballpark it?
Oh, I can't because I don't know the term off the top of my head.
Okay.
More than $5.
We would need a motion to approve doing
Yeah,
that,
I make a motion that we approve the
the payoff.
payoff.
I second that.
And what was that?
Thank you, Ruth. Are you done?
Yeah.
Did we have
Motion
any
carries.
questions from the public on this item?
Did we agendicize that? Can we do that?
Mr. Mayor, we we do not have any public speakers on this item. And it is in the agenda.
Yes, it is in the.
Yes, it
All right,
is.
all right.
Yes.
Very good. Let's check.
Right here, it's recommended.
All right, with that, we will open the public hearings at 5:26 PM. Item number 9, closeout of Community Development Block Grant 17 CDBG-12014 and 20-CDBG-CV-2-3-0013.
Good job.
Good job.
Good evening, Mayor Reynolds and council members. Tonight's public hearing is to close out 2 community development block grants and to receive public comment. The first grant, 2017 CDBG 12014, was awarded in 2018 and funded home ownership in the amount of $1 million. Public services, catalyst domestic violence, $186,047, and code enforcement of $531,123. All of the funds were expended with the exception of $34,660 of the code enforcement funds. Due to an overabundance of received program income, the city staff was unable to expend all of the code enforcement grant funds within the grant terms, even after being awarded a year in extension. Staff is required to disencumber the remaining funds to the state, and they are no longer allowing any further extensions. For example, within the grant term, the city received
Excuse me, Ms. Burke.
I'm sorry, I need to clarify. My wife's the executive director of Catalyst. I know this is a closeout, but if I have a conflict, I'll leave the room, and I don't know if I do, since it's simply a closeout of everything that's been expended.
I don't see it as an immediate conflict,
Thank
but
you.
I appreciate the disclosure.
So for example, within the grant term, the city received approximately $2.2 million in CDBG program income funds during the term. All of those funds needed to be expended prior to us drawing down any of the CDBG grant funds. That is why we were not able to expend the $34,000. In that time, we were able to do 11 home buyer assistant loans with the $1 million. Catalyst had 469 new or continued access to service, and code enforcement had a total of 11,338 total active cases, 2,961 cases closed, and 2,586 new cases opened. The second grant we are closing out is the 20 CDBG CV 2300113, and that is the COVID-19 funding. This grant was for a utility assistance program that never took off. The city partnered with Community Action Agency and was advertised on our website, our Facebook page, and through Community Action Agency programs. We received one application that did not qualify. The funding was difficult to obtain because you had to provide documentation that you were impacted by COVID-19 and not able to pay your bills. So City Council and the state CDBG approved a contract amendment to close out this grant and move the remaining funds to our second CV grant, which is the Wyandotte Improvement Program. Have any questions?
Do you have any questions from the public on this item?
Mr. Mayor, I do not have any public speakers on this item.
Do you have any questions or comments from this dais? Having none, looking for a motion to adopt resolution number 9102 and 9101.
So moved.
Second.
Motion carries with 7 yeses and 0 nos.
Moving on to item number 10, ZC 22-04, Standards for Development of Non-Conforming Lots in South Oroville.
Mayor and council members, this evening we have certified planner Mark Wolf with North Star to present to you.
Thank you, Don. Mayor Reynolds, members of the council, this item concerns the South Oroville neighborhood and the development standards for substandard lots in that neighborhood. The standard lot size in Oroville is 5,000 square feet, 50 by 100 feet. There are a good number of parcels down in this part of town that are smaller than that. Either they're too narrow or they're too short. They don't meet either the area or the width requirements. This has been found to cause some problems. People coming in wanting to develop these lots, trying to fit a normal home on them has proved daunting. So we've come up with some changes to those development regulations to ease that a little bit and hopefully encourage investment in the South Oroville neighborhood. The standards that we're talking about have to do with the side yard setbacks, rear yard setbacks, and lot coverage. And Jackie, can we take a look at that side-by-side graphic, if that's handy?
Is that one the other one on one?
I think it's on page 193. There we go, that one. And this just illustrates the nature of the changes we're talking about. Right now, the side yard setbacks are 5 feet. We're talking about some changes that will take that down to a minimum of 3 feet, as long as the aggregate, that is the combination of both side yards, is 8 feet. So there's some more flexibility there. Taking down the rear yard setback from 20 feet to 15 feet will allow some more room in the backyard as well. And then also eliminating the cap of 2,000 square feet for lot coverage for any lot that's under 5,000 square feet in this part of town. That will allow the normal 50% lot coverage standard to kick in and will provide some flexibility as well. In order to advance some general plan policies with respect to streetscapes and not dominating streets with garages, the standards would include a requirement that any garage, if they're not taking access off the alley, that the garage be set back 3 feet from the main structure, just to make sure that we don't have streetscapes that are dominated by garages. So this is a proposal that was discussed with the Planning Commission, found unanimous support there. It advances a number of general plan policies, and there haven't been any major issues identified, so we're continuing to recommend approval along with the Planning Commission. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
A few years ago, when we started working on this, we were going to develop 4 or 5 standard floor plans. So when people came in to build on these newly approved lots, the size, because they were unbuildable before, we were going to offer them floor plans that would make it easier. Are we moving forward on that, Wes? There's no reason for everyone trying to reinvent the wheel. We have a cookie cutter deal over here where we could offer, if they want to do something custom, that's fine, but we need to offer 4 or 5 floor plans so that it can expedite their process.
We can look into that. We haven't discussed it at this time. We do know that the city of Chico has developed 4 or 5 accessory dwelling unit floor plans that they can make available to the community. But we do know that there would be a cost to the city to develop these pre-approved floor plans. But we'll take this as a good suggestion and look into it.
Well, and I gotta say, I'm a little surprised because this was one of the very main topics of the conversation right from the beginning. So I've been out of the loop for a while you guys have been working on this, but I'm kind of wondering how we ended up not dropping the ball on that, actually.
Well, all I can say is that there must have been a disconnect between staff changes over time. So we'll bring this up and start discussing it in earnest. Thank you.
Okay, I appreciate it. Councilmember Pittman?
Yeah, essentially, when we look at these lots, what size of home are they talking about building then?
Well, right now, the standards would limit the house size to no more than 50% of a standard 5,000 square foot lot, so a 2,500 square foot site coverage limitation would apply. The way the standards work right now, however, is if you go below that 5,000, immediately you have to go down to 2,000 feet. So you don't go from 2,500 to something a little bit less, you have to jump all the way down to 2,000.
But Mark, that's maximum size, right?
Pardon me?
That's
Yes.
maximum
Yes,
size?
exactly.
Because it's not what the average person builds.
Well, that's what I'm saying, that
Right.
even at 2,000 square feet, I doubt we're gonna see anybody build anything at the cost of construction today. So, I know the tiny homes is now building regular stuck or regular stick housing, and their permit, they have two pre-approved permits from the county for 400 square foot. I want to be careful about us having permits that are approved, or plans that are approved, because we pay for them, and then I'm not sure that we could offer those out there. So I think that if we just let them know that, you know, your square foot size footprint, what it could be, and let them do what they want to do, because you run I think, a dangerous path in providing permits or pre-approved building plans and having the city being liable for those. We approve what they want to build. I'm not sure we want to tell them what to build.
Yeah, the changes that are before you would provide more flexibility.
Right.
For people.
So could these lots have an ADA on them too?
Yes.
I know some of the lots, even farther south on Virginia, they're 20 by 40. Many of those are real difficult.
Those are real small.
Yeah, those are real small, but they're basically the old cabins for the railroad workers that occurred. And that's not in our jurisdiction right now, but it sounds like this standard may have to be used for it later on. Yeah. Thank you.
So actually, this option would save money in the long run, because the builder or the homeowner wouldn't be paying an architect or an engineer. They would be pre-approved, and then the cost would be burdened back on the builder. So it's not that we were going to print stuff up and give it away. We're simply trying to expedite the process, because we have a lot of burned out, empty lots over there that people want to build on. And if we streamline that process for them, we're more likely to have people building over there rather than people trying to figure it out. Just like from day one, I asked for a list of if you're building residential, if you're building commercial, what are your steps? What do you have to go through? Because building should be an experience that people enjoy. It shouldn't be grounds for divorce.
Mayor, we will examine that option. It's actually not an agendized item, but we'll pursue it and examine it.
Thank you. Do we have any comments from the public on this item?
Mr. Mayor, we do not have any public comments.
Councilmember Smith?
Yeah, for example, Endeavor Homes, as we know, they're here off of, I think, off of Fifth. They have a lot of different model homes, that type of thing, which I think that's actually a great idea, because then you've already thought through that process as to what can fit and can't fit. Just a quick question on the lot size. Mark, when you talk about the 50% coverage,
Yes,
so that would
my apologies.
also include, so that's not just livable space, that would include your garage and your outbuildings, the total coverage of a lot.
That's correct.
Okay, and then just real quick, so, and on those setbacks, now that those setbacks have been changed, is there any concern like with utilities, USA issues? Have you guys looked at all of that? I'm sure you have.
Yeah,
but-
there's no issue there. The minimum 3 foot is from the building code. It works. It's a kind of a standard known quantity.
Right, right. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm sorry, I got to make one more comment. Nearly every subdivision that's built has that avenue in place for 4, 5, 6 different floor plans. Because I build a lot of subdivisions with doing the masonry in them, and this is number 3, number 4, you know, they just flip-flop or
Yeah.
you know. So
Reverse the floor plans and such.
this is not an original idea. It's just simply something we're trying to implement to expedite the process to get people in homes in Oroville. So, thank you. Don't mean to put you on the spot for a
No.
non-agendized
No.
item, Tom.
And my apologies for abandoning my post here. I thought.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, well, with that, we're looking for a motion to adopt resolution number 9105.
So moved.
I'll second.
And waive the first reading and introduce by title only, ordinance number 1870.
1869?
1870.
Where is that? Where did I miss it? Thank you. So moved again.
I'll second.
Okay.
Motion carries with 7 yeses and 0 nos.
Okay, moving on to item number 11, ZC22-05, amendment of Oroville Municipal Code, Section 17.48.100, substandard lots.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Reynolds. Also in the theme of substandard lots tonight, in researching the code with respect to the South Oroville changes, we did come across a section that has been around for some time, I'm sure, that actually requires, in some cases, if somebody owns 2 adjacent substandard lots, that as a prerequisite to developing those lots, that they either adjust the lot lines to make the lots conforming, or that they combine the parcels into one. This isn't really something that is enforceable from a legal standpoint. You know, you're treating people differently based upon which properties they own and such. It's just kind of a cleanup of the code, and it would eliminate any possible roadblocks. If somebody comes in, especially in the South Oroville neighborhood, I think is a great example. You find 2 or 3 or 4 vacant lots next to each other. The way the code is right now, it could cause some problems at the front counter as people come in and try to figure out how they're going to develop them and adjust lot lines and whatnot. This just takes that off the table. And again, it's not enforceable from a legal standpoint anyway, so it was a good time to clean that up in the code as well. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Do we have any comments from the public on this item?
Mr. Mayor, I do not have any public speakers on this item.
Do we have any comments or questions from this dais? Having none, looking for a motion to adopt resolution number 9104, waive the first reading and introduce by title only, ordinance number 1869.
So moved.
Carries with 7 yeses and 0 nos.
Moving on to reports, discussions, and correspondence. Does anyone from this council have any announcements? I'll go ahead and say that we went up a week and a half ago to the O. We hiked up there. It was a trip put together by a lifelong citizen here, very community-minded, very active in the community. And we all went up and painted the O. It hadn't been tended to in a few years. We found out later that it was, because typically Block O does it, but we found out that they hadn't been up there because of COVID. So, but we went up, we had a great time. I looked around up there because, and I told a few people, might as well look around now because this is probably our last trip up here, because that is quite a hike. And on the way down, we got a few bumps and bruises, but we sure had a good time. It was a good group of people, and there's a new owner up there, owns all the property around it, and he is an amazing person, retired military. His wife is retired military, very nice people, and very accommodating as long as people are respectful. There's no, he was sharing with us that there's a lot of people that just go up there, just, that's always been the rite of passage, I believe was the term that I heard. And the problem with that nowadays is liability, and it's pretty tough. So, and he's willing to work with the school, with everyone, to as long as it's organized. But what's been happening is there's been a lot of people going up there and leaving a lot of garbage and things. So, and him being the homeowner, that's his backyard now. Him and his family have been cleaning it up. So he would like an organized event. He's not cutting anybody off or saying that no one's welcome. He just wants to have some control of his own property, which is understandable. We're in a new time now. People might complain, well, that ain't the way it's always been. Well, it's people that made it this way. So he's a great guy, and Chris and Veronica Cafaro, wonderful people, and I want to thank them for their service. Also went to the Oroville High Hall of Fame. My lifelong friend Kevin Brown invited me, and Kevin's a big personality. He's an amazing person. We've been friends for a long time, and he ended up playing pro baseball for Minnesota Twins, Atlanta Braves, great left-handed pitcher. But his brother was also being entered into the Hall of Fame, and I couldn't believe the accomplishments. I mean, we all know Kevin's a superstar, great guy, but his brother is a professor of Yale, Harvard, he's been all over the world. And the alphabet soup behind his name, and just an amazing individual. And I just want to encourage, these are two young boys from Oroville, California, not they came from modest means, and a single mother who raised them. So nothing is unreachable. And I was just very amazed by that. Another lifelong friend, Chris Dolder, ended up Oroville kid, born and raised, and he ended up being a world-renowned professor of dance all over the world, France, Italy, everywhere. And he was telling me that, he said, I was in Germany last night, and I've got to be in New York in the morning, and just amazing lives. So nothing is unreachable. And I'll tell you, another single mother. So my hats off to the not just the mothers, but single mothers, especially because and Sally Walker. She was entered into the Hall of Fame. She did not have she was working odd jobs trying to take care of her 5 children who were going to 5 different schools. And sometimes the money would run out, and by the end of the month, she got paid once a month, and she would have to run to the store and buy the stuff that drop the kids off, and then buy the stuff for sandwiches, and go to each school and make the sandwich in the car and run it into them in the classroom. I'm telling you, it was a tearful evening, and just all wonderful people. And I've been friends with these guys all of my life. Kevin, not his brother, he would get awfully bored speaking to me. But anyway, you never know who's sitting beside you. You never know who that kid is in the classroom beside you and what they're dealing with. And I just thought that these were some amazing stories. There was not one person there who came from upper class or upper middle class or any of that. They were all from modest means, and they worked hard for everything that they achieved. And I'm just really proud of our Oroville folks and what they have achieved. I mean, we're surrounded by greatness, and you know, a lot of times we don't recognize it. And I'm just really proud to be from the same area as these folks. So, Councilmember Smith. You know, and I was just texting Kevin saying, "What's your brother's name?" I forgot his name, but what's his name?
Kendall Thomas.
Kendall Thomas, yes. And just absolutely amazing. I couldn't believe this. Don't get me going again, Steve. Kendall Thomas, yes. So, Councilmember Smith.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, Mr. Mayor. So the 11th of November is going to be Veterans Day. The Exchange Club is hosting the parade this year. We have applications next door at the Chamber of Commerce, so all of you who are interested in that. I believe the chair is Oliver Perry with the Exchange Club, and maybe some of you know that, yes. And so he runs an organization, nonprofit, Veterans Adventure. And so he's, I think, directing the parade this year, heavily involved in that. So just let you all know that it's kind of cool to see the Exchange Club partnering with veterans and conducting the parade and being involved in that. Just want to bring that to your all attention, and I think it'll be a great day. That'll be a Friday this year.
Anyone else? Having no one, moving on to future agenda items. I would like to say that I would like to see this. I don't know what's happening with this rebranding thing. I seen some pictures put out, and I haven't ran into anybody who was happy about these pictures. We got a picture of an empty lake and a picture of the top of the dam. That's not Oroville. Oroville, that's not even the town. I mean, it's in our outskirts for sure, but this rebranding is not about Lake Oroville, it's about Oroville. So I have contacted a local photographer, Wayne Wilson, who does an absolutely amazing job, and asked him if we could use some of his photos, and he said absolutely. And these photos are a much better representation of our town. So I would like to see us form a committee that is working on this rebranding, rather, because I don't know who's working on it, but I think that we need to form a committee.
Mayor Reynolds, I've already been in correspondence with the rebranding associates, and we've sent them updated photos from Mr. Wilson, and so those will be reflected on the website in the coming days.
Wonderful, thank you.
Welcome.
Now, as far as the committee, we need to structure that for the next meeting of how many people are going to be on it and who wants to be involved, because we need more council members involved with this rebranding.
Right now, Mr. Mayor, there's really no committee work to do. I mean, I think once they come back with a proposal, I mean, if you'd like to prepare for that, you know, we can do something like that, but there's really not a lot of work right now while they're kind of working all of the information through and bringing you something back to work on with them. If you'd like to get that set up, that's something, you know, we certainly can do for you.
That's what I'm saying, because somebody made the decision to put those pictures of an empty lake on the
That was the
website.
consultant that made those decisions.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Somebody needs to be talking to them. So, and I don't have to be on the committee, but I just know that we need more eyes on it. And, yeah, that's what I'm looking for, is
Okay.
something
Yes,
in
sir.
the future.
Yes, sir, we can do
Absolutely.
that.
Anyone else? Administration reports, Mr. Lando,
Nothing additional to report.
Ms. Bergstrom,
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Legrone.
Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to report, and I'll let Ms. Nevers jump in on this, or Mr. Irwin. Late this afternoon, we received notification that we had received a grant for broadband. It's a technology or technical assistance grant to help us increase our ability to provide broadband through the community. We received up to $500,000 to do those studies and to get a project that's going to be shovel-ready in our community. So it was very good news that we received that. It takes us down the road to applying for another grant now to actually do the work. So, I mean, but we can get the necessary engineering and all of that done, and I'll let Ms. Nevers weigh in on that.
Yes, this was a grant application in partnership with RCRC, and they have assisted us with the writing of this grant. And again, as Mr. Legrone had stated, this is a planning grant to identify areas of need for broadband infrastructure, and those plans can be developed and deployed later for construction.
Great, thank you, staff. Is that it?
Yes, sir.
I'll save you. Ms. Duncan?
I'd like to report that the Finance Department has a vacancy as of October 7th. We had somebody go to work in Chico, so we are applying for an open position in finance. If you know anybody that would like to apply, you can let them know that we are. Also looking for somebody with payroll experience would be great too.
The tree pruning RFP has been published. The bid walk was held. We had 4 tree trimming contractors in attendance, and that RFP closes on October 20th. And then we have the roof and facade RFP that has also been flown, and a bid walk was held. And that RFP closes on October 31st, and that is for the Centennial Cultural Center roof replacement. That building has had leaks for a number of years, and so it's time to take care of those leaks. Also, you'll see that the City Hall roof replacement has commenced. The solar has been removed. The front facade dry rot repairs have also commenced, and so that is in progress. The Oroville Convention Center RFP is being developed and will be published in the next week or so to complete the accessible restroom facilities, front facade improvements, and atrium accessible facilities there. Soon following that will also be the accessible path of travel from Meyer Street to the front of that facility, along with the landscaping, Christmas tree, permanent locations, etc. And then following that will also be the kayak kiosk at the Bedrock Park. So we have several RFPs and facility projects in the queue. More to come. Also with Bedrock Park, the Levee Trail, and the Nature Center. I know this is a passionate point for many folks in the community. We're working with a consultant to develop a master plan for that location so that we are more competitive when we apply for these state parks grants going forward. Also, our museum curator has been working in partnership with the docents, and on Saturday, October 29th, they will be holding a trick-or-treat at each of the museums from 1 to 5 p.m. So this will kind of kick off trick-or-treating, and then folks, families can head down to the YMCA for the remainder of the evening.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just add into that, I don't know if Ms. Nevers covered the port and loos, but
yes.
We have received those port and loos on our trail, which are bathrooms. We are going to be installing those at Bedrock Park and Centennial Plaza. They have outdoor water fountain or bottle filling areas so you can get a drink of water while you're there, but they also have ones for pets so that your pet can, I believe, get a drink on those things. We finally got the engineering back, and those will be going out, I believe, here shortly too on RFP.
Yes, the RFP is being prepared for the installation of the Portland Loos as well.
And that's a big issue in the community because there's an issue not just in our community, but in society as a whole, is where do people go to the bathroom? A lot of people are choosing to do it in inappropriate places and making a mess. And it's not only a mess, but it's a hazardous situation. So by installing these, we hope that this will give people a 24-hour facility where they will have somewhere that they can use in the event that nature calls, and it doesn't have to be outside or on the ground or on the trail. So we do have them. You know, it is a plan the council put into play a long time ago, but it's finally coming to fruition where we can actually put those out there and folks can use them. The other thing I'd like to point out that from Ms. Duncan's report earlier is that with the payment of the ABM or the solar payoff on that project, that retires all old city debt. I mean, that was the last thing we had. Over the last 4 years, the council has retired about $7 million in debt with budget surpluses. So, you know, thank you for doing that.
We appreciate that. The only old debt that we have now is the successor agency bond that is out there. But so that everybody understands that, that's paid directly through property taxes. That isn't an annual installment that the city makes, if I'm correct on that, Ms. Duncan, if I understand it correctly. So we are not, that is serviced by the, essentially the county through the tax collection process. The debt that we have is one we just did this year. The reason why we rolled $2.1 million into the new one is because of the interest rate that we got. I mean, we're paying much lower interest on that. So things look like they're going very well financially.
Mr. Belser. One second, Councilmember Pittman.
Don, what's the name of the contractor that's grinding down the sidewalks?
Precision Concrete.
I gotta say, they got the most innovative way I've ever seen doing it. They have these little rolling generator vacuum cleaner stations, and I think I saw 4, maybe 5 of those.
Yeah.
What a great way to grind the concrete down. I mean, they were over here on Bird Street, and it's an innovative idea. I've never seen that before.
It is a patented process.
Okay. Yeah, it was slick. I mean, the old grinding thing there, these guys are going,
They're very efficient and quick.
yeah. Good job. Thank
I
you.
thought that was R2D2.
Good evening, Council. I just want to report that State Bill 1131 passed on September 22nd, and this is to protect public employees from credible threats. And one of the professions listed in that was the code enforcement profession. I'm working with the California Association of Code Enforcement Officers now to get my team listed in with that group, and what it does is it makes all of their information confidential. There have been code enforcement officers murdered in the past as a result of their profession, tracked down at home and murdered. So just want to report, I thought that was pretty awesome that that passed, and they'll have the same protections, much like law enforcement has. And then we had a very successful oral board last week. Have a couple code enforcement positions that are opened. We had quite a few applications, but we narrowed down to a couple individuals, and really excited to see them come aboard and support our program.
Thank you. With that, we will adjourn until November.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, just one more thing. I'd just like to invite the council and everybody to the Trunk and Treat on October 29 at the YMCA. The police department will be up there handing out candy, and we appreciate your help if you'd like to come help.
Councilmember Smith?
Yeah, adding something to the agenda, or proposing this, was just real quick, talking with DWR, they were doing their surveillance of the salmon, that they're using drone technology now to review to see how many fish are coming up the river, and just discussing that, our river corridor with them. And this is, again, anecdotal, but there seems to be an uptick in the homeless population along that corridor that's having a direct impact on the environment. So I'd like to see us look at a potential ordinance that deals with not allowing that camping, some more teeth, deeper teeth along that levee, the levee top, the impact. And I would think that the state would like to join in on that as well. I know there's been some conversation about that in the past, but definitely, I mean, again, it's anecdotal, but I almost daily venture along that path, and just my own personal observation. And also I've noticed on the upside of that, a lot more usage by our average citizenry using the trails as well, which is great. But I think we need to seriously look at that because it is a growing problem, and it's a negative impact on our environment as well. So
we'll look into that.
Thank you.
Did our attorney have something?
I just wanted to say that there's no new report out from legal as I'm stepping in for Mr. Huber tonight.
Thank you. With that, we will adjourn till November 1st, 2022 at 4 p.m.